Food poisoning, cross-contamination, clandestine societies of hungry rats. These are just a few of the many pressing concerns shared by restaurant staff and consumers alike. But thanks to statewide safety regulations, foodies can turn to restaurant grading systems to help decide where it's safe to dine. But if A is excellent and B takes a pass, what's the risk in grabbing a bite from C? Well, today we're going to find out if it's safe to eat at C-graded restaurants. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other restaurant-related topics you would like to hear about. All right, take out those grading pens. Let's find out what that smell is. Up until the mid-90s, American restaurants operated in a manner not too dissimilar from the Wild West. One wouldn't go so far as to say the industry got away with murder, but the Center for Disease Control suggests that prior to regulations for restaurants, 5,000 people died from foodborne illnesses annually. While we might take strict hand-washing policies and proper chemical storage for granted these days, back then, almost no one was watching. And sadly, restaurant goers paid dearly for it. Fortunately, in 1995, South Carolina got with the times and became the first state to impose uniform grade requirements for every food establishment. Based on staff compliance, state inspectors then assigned literal grades to each restaurant. From big-name franchises like McDonald's to your favorite country fried mom-and-pop shops, no South Carolinian cuisine was safe from the newfangled grading system. Within just a few years, states like Tennessee and North Carolina had followed suit with their own grading systems. And while most places in America embrace the need for statewide inspections, not everyone believes in the power of report cards. Kansas City, for example, land of barbecue gods, Super Bowls, and pop stars, does not drop grades on its local Domino's or barbecue joints. Instead, the state of Missouri relies on surprise visits from those pesky health inspectors who then report all health violations to a public website. Airing a restaurant's dirty secrets online is one way to make a touchdown. But as we'll soon discover, some American cities play a little more physically. Plenty of states, such as Florida and Indiana, have also held on to the no-grade system of online shaming. And even the state of California doesn't give out state-mandated grades. Instead, Californians are tasked with tackling restaurant grade cards themselves, battled out in storied halls of the local legislature. Countries vote or pass laws to enforce their own grading systems. And if a county chooses to adopt the restaurant grading system, it usually means establishments are forced to display their grades on the building. That's right, depending on which county you grabbed your takeout in, your California burrito might have been slapped with an A, a B, or maybe even the dreaded C. And while multiple California counties picked up grading systems by the mid-90s, one major metro adopted grades in the wake of a truly gnarly news report. Because in 1997, CBS reporters descended on the fine dining establishments of Los Angeles and changed the city forever. In a special series broadcast to unsuspecting audiences, Behind the Kitchen Door utilized hidden cameras to expose the filthy truth about LA restaurants. Infestation, bad hygiene, terrible food handling, a true nightmare for the city. After the shocking news program shook Los Angeles, officials enacted mandatory grading systems for the county. Yes, within just a few months of Behind the Kitchen Door, every LA dining establishment came saddled with a grade from A to C. Talk about the power of journalism. But whether it's a statewide mandate or specific county decisions, these grading systems all come with their own unique score values and meanings. While many places have adopted for the simplicity of ABCs, other parts of the world have completely different systems. The UK, which is like the Shelbyville to the US's Springfield, uses a stern scale of 1 to 5 to determine proper restaurant health measures. On the other end of the spectrum, Australia utilizes stars, while Denmark adopted smiley faces? Depending on who you ask, namely which state and what county, the restaurant grading process can either be lenient or an absolute nightmare. Regardless of who fears the reaper, inspector, no establishment is safe from their flashlights and probing questions. The rules and regulations of grading vary in every state, but the majority of American report cards operate off point systems from 1 to 100. Where things get tricky is in the implementation. New York City, for example, assigns points per violation. Boston, on the other, starts restaurants off at 100 and deduces points with every infraction. Regardless, the intent is universal: get good marks or take home a bad grade. While inspections are sure to take place up to 3 times a year, restaurants often have little to no time to prepare. Many states, like Missouri, enforce unannounced inspections, which means restaurant staff need to stay on their toes or risk taking home an L, as in layoffs. And that's because there's more at stake than just the public's appetite. These inspections also have the power to shut restaurants down completely. But it's not all doom, gloom, and surprise visits. By keeping up with the basics, restaurant inspections can be as breezy as a wind farm. Day to day, hour by hour, staff should keep a keen eye on hygiene, proper food handling, and any sign of intruders, aka roaches and rats. Unless maybe it's the rat chef from that Pixar movie. But if the staff turns a blind eye to these solvable, everyday issues, eventually the restaurant grading system catches up to them. Dutiful, resolute, and trained to evaluate every square inch of virtually any food establishment. These officially licensed inspectors know their stuff. From observing staff habits to literally cracking open ovens and vents, they leave no grill unturned. Unfortunately for those slacker burger bars out there, the early inspector usually gets, or finds, the worm. Each different kind of establishment comes with their own set of unique challenges. And in that sense, food inspectors are almost like veterinarians. Okay, so maybe there's more at stake when comparing the vascular systems of a hippopotamus to a French poodle, but you get the point. The proper hot holding temperature for a roller dog display at the convenience store? Ask your food safety inspector. Need to know how many inches a hand washing sink should be from food prep spaces at the supermarket? Who you gonna call? Health inspector. Whether they're checking for debris in industrial spray washers or literally interviewing front of house staff and surly line cooks, food safety inspectors are taking notes. Those notes, often in depth and scrutinizing, go on to form grades. And for a lot of potential consumers, those grades mean something, because when you know the score and what potential violations occurred, your stomach may turn at the idea of stopping by for a C-grade meal. When reviewing restaurant grades in a place like New York City, it pays to keep track of what each rating means. To snag an A in the Big Apple, restaurants must score no more than 13 points. For a B, you've got infractions totaling less than 28 points. And for a C, you guessed it, 28 plus points. And well, mo points, mo problems. Some violations, like overflowing maggot piles, will undoubtedly net points in the double digits, probably a full restaurant shutdown to boot. But when a bearded employee is caught slicing subs without a face net, well, that's probably not going to drop an establishment too many grades. In this respect, it's important to understand the reasons why a restaurant has been marked as a C. Was nobody wearing gloves while prepping sushi rolls? Were there remnants of a short-lived ladybug infestation that's since been taken care of? Improper use of ice scoops? All of these could and would amount to hefty violations when added up and taken in total. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should never eat those delectable $2 C-graded pizza slices ever again. Well, in some cases, restaurants are able to appeal the initial grade decision to their local officials. And over time, new grades can be applied with the proper changes and a better score. But in some places, such as New York City, restaurants are given an immediate window to implement proper food handling practices or make necessary repairs. In these instances, what starts off as a C might be swiftly amended to an A. But in the meantime, restaurants under observation must display an ominous grade pending sign, which just invites the public's imagination to run wild. For those procrastinating restaurants who choose to keep their poor scores, consequences can be intense. While having a big fat C in your window is a surefire way to lose business, it can also be the sign of imminent closure. From criminal mismanagement charges to foodborne illness violations that typically carry hefty fines, something totaling in the millions. Chipotle, for example, was once charged with a $25 million fine for foodborne illness outbreaks. But while a C grade certainly denotes a restaurant on the verge of collapse, it's not always within the staff's control. In 2013, a popular and hip New York restaurant known as Mission Chinese was so overrun with rats that it was forced to shut its doors for good. But rats are a common nuisance in the city, and one that many restaurants successfully overcome. Sadly, Mission Chinese was dealt a cruel hand. In the wake of Hurricane Sandy, subterranean terrors emerged en masse and resulted in the destruction of the culinary hotspot. Ratatouille notwithstanding, nobody wants to dine amongst filthy vermin, but it's important to note that a bad grade might not always be the fault of the kid who flips the burgers. While it's easy to drunkenly stumble into a C-grade sandwich shop after a long night out, most consumers would rather not dabble in potential foodborne illness. Whether it's opting for an A-grade joint down the street or heading back for a home-cooked meal, those little signs make an impact. Depending on who you ask, the grading process can have a profound effect on restaurant owners and their staff. In fact, a Stanford study shows that restaurants with higher grades simply bring in more customers and cash. But whether or not these grades bring out the best in terms of change is still a topic of debate. While LA County reports a reduction in foodborne illness since grading began, detractors believe inspections provide an unrealistic snapshot of day-to-day operations. And while it is true that there are bad inspectors and human dysfunction, the same can be said of any auditing operation. Nonetheless, even for consumers unconcerned with Michelin stars or Vogue dining, the restaurant grading system matters. It helps us understand how seriously an establishment takes food safety, and with a little online research through public records, we can inform ourselves even better. Because while it might not be fair to judge cuisine solely on an inspection, the sanitary and safety practices of those who made it have critical bearing on how the rest of our night goes, or maybe even how much time we have left on this earth. 3,000 Americans still die every year from bad food. And while that brings the total down a great deal from the 90s, there's obviously still more work to be done. So the next time you try to decide what that C grade means to you, remember this: our time on this planet is short, and nobody should spend it eating bad food. So what do you think? And would you ever dine at a C grade restaurant? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of our other Weird History food videos.